Knocked down at the line. Drake Jackson.
Well, he went for it back at his own 18, so I'm sure he's going to go for it here as well. But a great job. You're not going to get home. Just get that big hand up in the throwing lanes.
Troy Franklin downfield stuff. It's amazing.
Outside to Bryant. Bryant spins his way across the 40, a foot race. There goes Bryant into the clear. Gary Bryant, touchdown, Ducks, 71 yards.
Play action. Nix rolls across his body, back in the end zone. A wide open touchdown for Gary Bryant Jr. The 41st touchdown pass of the season for Bo Nix.
Right. If you don't know, I'm going to let you know. What you go through is what you grow through. It's this brother claim to fame. Adversity was his blessing, putting emphasis on the notion, no pain, no gain. From Pullman, New England, Green Bay to New York Jets, there is no peak where this brother's feet won't set. A late pick, 7 years in the NFL where he excelled, brought home a Super Bowl ring, even played for the legendary great Bill Parcells. Now living life, enjoying his later days, ladies and gents, I'll give you Chris Kareem, last name Mr. Hayes.
The groundwork of the foundation gave us the blueprint to actually succeed and go to college and things like that. Attended Washington State, went for 4 years where I graduated, got drafted in the 7th round as an undersized linebacker. And the rest was history, man. And, you know, giving a little background on the NFL, that's when my first year was when I actually learned the business of the NFL. Played for 4 different teams that year, actually ended up, got drafted by the New York Jets, cut by the New York Jets, picked up by the Washington Redskins, played for the Washington Redskins for seven weeks, got cut, traded to Green Bay, won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, then got traded back to the team that cut me in the first place because Parcells went back there. They got a real coach in there that time around. After Rice era. But then when they got Bill in there, he knew what he was doing. So, you know, they got the Wolf back over there in New York. But that's a little brief background of, you know, me coming up from San Bernardino, you know, having an opportunity to play collegiately and actually get drafted in the NFL by the New York Jets, win a Super Bowl my first year with the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Yes, sir. Coach G, you want to tap in?
Yeah, Coach, you know, man, you know, just hearing your story, and a lot of people don't know your background. I think I was reading a little bit something, and when I say adversity, I was reading that you had got let go, and you were on your way to the airport, and then you got picked up, and then you had your newborn baby. So you had all that going on all at once. And I believe it said that you had to ask the new team, could you go see your baby first? So, you know, I feel like adversity is a part of life. And I do. Yeah. And then I also read that you have a son that plays at the high level or played at the high level. You have sons that actually play in the collegiate level or whatever. So my question to you is this: what is the recipe for success when it comes to you? You know, we have a lot of parents on here that have kids that have athletes. So what is the recipe towards getting to the next level? Because you dealt with a lot reading your story.
It's the foundation, man. It starts with individuals like yourself, coaches, you know, pouring back in. You know, like I know, coaches played a big part in our lives when we was young. You know, being born and raised in the projects and coming up, that's all we had to look forward to was either the streets or playing ball. So I created a lot about a lot of my success on my foundation and my upbringing, man. I had a mom and pops believed in us, gave us the opportunity to participate in organized sports at a young age and get that vibe and get that feel. Thank the homeboys from the neighborhood who challenged me and made me who I was at an early age on the football field. Y'all know what the bragging rights was back in them days.
Right.
It's all about you understanding what we made ourselves better as individuals and as players right there on them concrete playing fields and things like that. So
Right.
I credit that to the foundation. Like I've always instilled in my kids, every choice has a consequence attached to it, whether good or bad. So
That's
try to be
real.
on that good side and that bad side. You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
took heed. And a lot of things as I was growing up, like I seen my mom and pops do, everything was foundational in regards to we broke bread at the dinner table. We had an issue, we sat down as a family and addressed them issues as a family. So I've
Right.
always tried to instill that in my kids, even at a young age. I used to watch them that's watching you, meaning to say that you gotta know your environment. You gotta know what you're dealing with. You gotta know the people that you keep around you at all times. And you know, understand whatever it is that you partake or what you want to be a part of, have some kind of understanding about what you're doing. Because
Right.
football is temporary, man. It's a blessing to be able to play and especially make it on a professional level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense. Yes.
Coach Dennis, I know you got a lot to talk about. For the people that didn't know, Drake just had surgery. We just talked about it with Coach Den. He has a lot of kids on a high level as well as Coach G. Go ahead and tap in, Coach Den.
Yes, sir. First, I want to start off, man, by asking. I know we cater to like mostly high school, and well, I can't say that because I got college kids that listen to us. Now we got NFL guys that listen to us. So being on that level, I know you went to all these cold schools coming out of California, from Pullman to the Green Bays, and how do you adapt as a Cali kid? You know what I'm saying, and try to stay focused, because I know a lot of kids that go further places and they can't adapt because the weather is different and different like that. So let us know how you adapt.
Always hard, man. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you that was an easy task. I give a lot of credit to my pops, man, who was a real one, who always told me if I tried to give up on myself, he wouldn't allow me to do that.
Yes, sir.
Pullman was, and I went to school in Pullman, Washington. And for anybody to know about Pullman, Washington, it was an area that was very unsegregated because it was high in the Aryan Nation. I remember my first year going there, someone had got hung in Idaho where they said that the and hog tied itself and hung itself, which didn't make no sense. So I had
Man.
piece being 3,000 miles away. But the thing that I also give love to is all the brothers that came together from Northern and Southern California, and we all stuck together because we was all we had up there while we was coming, when we was going from the stages of boys to men. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, like I said, I give a shout out to Pops who believed in me, wouldn't let me give up on myself. And also, man, I had to come to the realization, because coming from where I came from, man, I had trust issues. Only white folks I knew was white folks trying to lock me up or was judging me.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and I had to come to the realization that everybody wasn't like that. I had some cool people in college that really was caring about my well-being, a couple
Right.
teachers, couple professors, and things like that that I ended up gravitating to and learning from. So my message to anybody that's going out of state and things like that, try to find a strong support group, especially if you spiritual foundation. Get with a chaplain or somebody in the area. Try to join a church family or something like that. Somebody that has some foundational principles, and don't judge people by the color of their skin.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah, I
Right.
want to piggyback on along with that, because I had to make a decision with my son. The Niners wanted him to play in the playoffs, and he was like, "Dad, my knee just don't feel right." And I said, "Son," I said, "get surgery." You know what I mean? I said, "Get going and get it over with." But he was like, "But I want to play. They want me to play." And I'm like, "No, no, no." I said, "It's a business." So I had to really like sit down and discuss with him how's a business, how they want to use you all the way till they can. You know what I'm saying? But to them, you're just a part of the game. You know what I mean? And I like, as soon as he got hurt, the next week they put in another guy. So I'm like, they went and got another guy. So that's when they got Chase Young. But I'm like, the next week they went and got somebody else. So it just shows you as a business, and you got to have some strong support group. If not, you're gonna fall by the wayside.
And it starts with you, Pops, man. And I salute you for that, man, because it's hard to make them decisions and business decisions because a lot of these athletes don't understand they are the business. They
Yep.
Right.
are the corporation. They are the product. And the product and who you are as an individual supersedes the football field at all costs, all the time. You understand? I've had them conversations, deep conversations with my sons, especially my son who actually went to school and played at Arizona his first couple years. I never forget when Rich Rodriguez was up there. My son was 165 pounds, soaking wet through freshman, but his football IQ was
Man.
off the radar. So I remember going to Coach Rich Rodriguez and saying, "Man, my baby ain't ready. He ain't ready to play out there." And I remember Coach Rich Rodriguez, this is a true story, told me that he said, "Listen, I got to get him on the field because if I don't get people like him on the field, I won't be here next year." And I told him, I said, "Rich Rod, man, I'm not trying to rush the process of getting my baby out there to get hurt." Sure be told, man, he ended up blowing out his shoulder that year after he actually played that year, came back, he put on some more pounds, but he was out there playing with them big boys. His body wasn't developed and he wasn't ready. So I've always regretted the fact that I didn't stand as strong as you did, knowing I know this business and I know this game, to whereas I should have had him redshirt that year and let him fully develop to get to where he did. What he ended up doing though, which I'm so proud of him for doing, is he took the initiative because he was listening to what I was saying along the way, and he respected the game for what the game was, and went in there and graduated in 3 years and transferred to the ACC, where he finished out the collegiate year at
Right.
Louisville and ended up getting a master's degree. So I've always been proud of him for that. But he's always been that type of individual that when he put the strategy and the plan together, he made sure he went through the whole process and did the research before he actually engaged in it. So again, Coach D, man, salute to you, man, and being as active and supportive of your son and understanding the business, because a lot of people don't understand that piece of it.
Yes, sir.
Because God forbid he would have played through the injury and damaged himself, and it would have not only been out for 3 to 6 months, he'd have been out for 2 to 3 years. And like you said, the moment he went down, what did they do? Went and got Chase Young. So, it's like that. Y'all heard the cliche, you only an injury away from your job anyway. The football is not for long. That's the reality. I've been on the good side and the bad side of football. And I'm gonna tell you this, man, you gotta prepare because it's a lot of ups and downs. The shit is not, the stuff is not easy, man.
Hey, if you're just tuning in,
Man.
if you're just tuning in, man, it's the world famous Turf Talk right here. Coach G, Coach Dennis, and the one and only himself, Mr. Chris Hayes. We talking football, high school, college, and we talking NFL business. With that being said, Coach Hayes, I want to talk a little bit about the business of how the NIL and college has become more of a business, and then talk a little bit about what you got going on as well as far as teaching, the programs you have throughout the LA County and so forth. You just touch on it a little bit.
And just speaking on the NIL side, this stuff been going on for a long time, and y'all know that, man. The recruiting process and things like that. Kids now are getting targeted as early as 8, 9 years of age. They getting recognized for their abilities and their skill sets at that young of an age. So high school, man, when the 707 circuit start coming about, man, it changed the dynamics of the game. You know what I'm saying? So, business part of it has been there from the beginning, and it's gonna continue to go on until they turn the lights out in this world. You know what I'm saying? So that part of it, my takeaway from that is you got to become more in tuned and educated on what's actually going on. Like I used to tell parents, don't rush the process. Don't be so quick to get your baby in a football helmet and some shoulder pads to get them injuries out there to bang their heads up and get them concussions. Let a kid develop, take the time to develop. But that changed about 4 or 5 years ago with the emergence of now kids being, like I said, being recruited. Initially it was private schools, but now it's every school that brings these kids on all different levels to come up in there and compete. I have mixed reviews or mixed feelings about that A part of me says I love that because kids deserve, if they got the abilities and the talent to get what they deserve, on and off the field, let that be so. But I also ask that a level of teaching and education comes along with that. Because big business, like I said, is business. And a lot of these kids and their parents don't know about the money game on this level and how fast it moves and things that go into it. There's so many, like they say, so many small words or so many small details that people don't pay attention to, where you can get lost in the shuffle and get taken for a lot of your money on that end too as well. So you got to be careful about that. That's a lot about why I got involved in the different platforms that I got into. One, as a former athlete, I never forget when I walked away from the game, I told myself, and I realized this early in my career, like I said, in my first year, I realized that it was life after football. So in essence, I was one of those individuals that always prepared for the game to end one day. So that came about in one with my agent, Brian Levy, who I used to have real conversations with. There wasn't no sugarcoating on my end. Like we used to talk numbers all the time. And that came with the networking of people or individuals that I used to ask him to introduce me to, or I met along this way. Like I used to want to be involved in the negotiation. And a lot of times on the negotiations that I learned, even coaches that I thought had my back, when it came to negotiation, you would have thought was my greatest enemies. You know what I'm saying? So I realized you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. That was very early in my career when I learned that aspect of the game. So when I retired, I tell people this, it's like you've been chasing this dream your whole life, right? And you become attached to the identity that this opportunity gives you. You know, you got the spotlight, you got the fame, you got the accessories, you got all the people or the individuals always, sucking up to you and giving you love, treating you like you somebody special, right? Which you are. I ain't taking away from that. But it comes with a lot of responsibility. I tell people this all the time, that you got, again, it goes back to watch them watching you. You got to have some kind of level of understanding to be able to navigate through all this stuff that's moving at an all-time speed that you might not be acclimated to or aware of. So I coming out of that, I said, when somebody go to war or somebody pass away, or sometimes people know how to mourn that situation. But when you've been chasing a dream all your life and automatically that dream comes to a halt, a lot of times you don't know how to readjust or act towards that disruption or that critical break in your life. You just don't know what to do because it comes so fast. It's like I've been there where I've got a knock on the door at 4 o'clock during training camp, talking about go and see the head coach and bring your playbook. And when that time, that's the harsh reality that your football career or your dream might come to an end. So I tell people all the time, man, the ability to be able to adjust and adapt. And a lot of dudes that I talk to today, former players, I'm talking about Super Bowl champions, man, that transition has broken them down to the very last compound. They don't even know what to do. Mm-hmm. So one of the corporations or the companies I started was called It's 90% Mental. And I did that for myself, not only for myself, but for other individuals, because I wanted to be able to have an outlet to vent or to connect with people that can help me with this transition from a mental perspective. So I started that program in 2006. I started It's 90% Mental, and ended up getting a government contract that ended up not only having football camps. We partnered with the DCFS, Department of Foster Care and Child, which was a great program. And what we was trying to do there, we did do there, was use football as a conduit or a caveat to basically educate people on different transitions in life. So we was able to combine with sports psychologists. We were able to partner up with, activists in the communities, leaders in the communities, and different colleges and school systems, and actually educate these people. So I'm very proud of it. 90%. And you can go visit that website to see some of the things that we were able to do, some of the things that we were accomplished. That's at www.its90percent.com. And it's 90% is all one word, ITS 90, spell out percent, PERCENT.com. And it'll show you, that's one of our community outreach platforms.
We'll put all that information in the description. Make sure you definitely go check it out. Like I said, Chris Hayes ain't going nowhere, man. We're gonna make sure he stay around for these shows for future. Coach G, you want to tap in? We got about 10 minutes left. You want to tap in with a question?
Yeah, I feel like to all you young kings.
No, it's all good, Coach. Hey, we love every bit of it. Go ahead, Coach G.
Yes, sir. Now, to all you kings on here, I want to say this, man. I feel like football is evolving into, I don't even know what it's evolving into now. It seems like people are going into the portal like they are trying to find Atlantis on the other side. And just recently, to the NFL coaches, the NFL carousel is going crazy. It's got me dizzy. The Falcons fired Offficial Smith, the head coach. Washington parted ways with Ron Rivera. The Titans fired Mike Variable. And it's like we don't even know what is going on. And I want to ask this question to all you guys on the panel. Do you feel like the portal is a blessing or a future bad lesson?
I feel like it's a blessing.
Do you?
I feel like it's a blessing, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we in the business now. They done turn this thing. They done turned it up, and like I said, sped up the process. So I feel like if you're gonna treat it like business as young as high school, you need to start treating these young individuals like businessmen. So the portal, that's hey, you go on the wire when you're a free agent or restricted free agent. Same thing as being in the portal. So I think sometimes individuals get placed in situations. Let me tell you, I hated Pullman for 4 years. If I would have had an opportunity to get in the portal, I'd have jumped out that portal so fast. But thank God, praise the Lord. Thank God, His plan, taking fold and His will be done. Because brother, I'd have ran out of Puma so fast if they would have had a portal, man. Let me. So I believe in the portal.
You don't think that made you persevere a little more?
Yeah, it did. It brought character, like I say, at a different time in a different era. During my era, it did help me. I think during nowadays, like I said, with the escalation of and how fast this thing done sped up, and that it's so much business on the forefront now, that you got to treat it like a business from every angle, from every aspect. So yeah, you're right. It did teach me character, and it taught me perseverance. But that was what I needed back then. I think today's generation need to be up to date and be on point with what's going on around them. The character element that comes from people like yourself, Coach D, from fathers like you, from Coach G, from people and individuals like you. They got to get into these young individuals, and even more though than you have been in the past. Like, you got to talk to them about this business stuff right now, man. You got to educate, can't hold back. It's just like when I raise my kids, I'm straightforward with my kids. I let them know about drugs, let them know about sex and things like that they're gonna be facing. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. Can't sugarcoat the game either nowadays.
Yes, sir. Hey, Coach Dan, we got about 5 minutes left. You want to ask something real quick before we get out of here?
I just want to commend Coach. I just want to commend him because growing up, I was a foster kid, and I wish somebody was around like him to be able to come at me and help me get where I wanted to go. I know at one point I tried to go to the city of Riverside and try to be a social worker. I'm not a social worker, but a foster parent. But I wanted to do just athletes. Yeah. And they told me they looked at it as a form of punishment instead of a form of helping a kid out to where he excel to where he wanted to get to. That's in that level, because a lot of kids, we don't know their lives as a coach. Like, you don't know what's going on. How are you supposed to know a kid, a foster kid, and this and this and that? But I think if you knew that, you can be a little lenient. You know what I'm saying? Different areas. But I just want to say I commend you on that, and just thank you for it, man. Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, a lot, bro. It taught me a lot. It educated me on levels beyond means. Like it's a lot of these babies out here that need us, man. It's a lot of
Yeah.
these babies that's lost, man, and that's caught up in the system and ain't got no way out. So we could talk one off on that, man, because it was a lot of disturbing things that I learned throughout that process that really like humbled me on a whole nother level to say, man, there's some people I salute you for making it out the system, brother, and doing what you're doing and the success you have today and the kind heart and the spirit that you have today, bro. That speaks volumes. Like you said, people don't understand. I couldn't understand. I couldn't fathom what these young individuals are going through. I'm talking about these young boys and these young girls, man. I couldn't understand it or believe it. Like I say, man, we have to have a one-off on that one day.
Yes,
to
sir.
tell
Yes,
you
sir.
how
Yeah, sound good.
first meeting went with the DCFS.
Yeah, let's definitely get Coach Hayes back on here. Man, if you're tuning in, it's the world famous Turf Talk. Coach Hayes is gonna definitely be popping in and out around here. We're checking up on his businesses and him as a person. Coach G, I want you to go ahead and give us that intro again because it was so good. Let them know who we just got finished interviewing, who we got finished talking to, because that was a cold piece before we get on out of here. Like Coach Chris Hayes say that, hey, we're going worldwide tonight.
You know, and I want to say this before I forget, Coach. You kept it a buck about Pullman because I had a nephew there. They call him Travon Brown, 8 Deuce. He actually had to go in the portal, and he had to he went in the portal to ASU, but he was telling me all the stories about Pullman, man. And if you ain't into fishing, it ain't too much to do out there.
It was hard, man. That transition, even the weather, bro. The weather of going from San Bernardino to Pullman, Washington, where it snowed it snowed for months out of the year, and it was super cold and having to go to school, get up and go to school. Man, that was a hard lifestyle for me out there, man.
Right.
Then I felt like I had to communicate with that related to me, outside of the player. It was crazy, man. So yeah, like I say, I'm gonna say it again. If I had a portal to go to, brother,
right.
Coach G, get us on out of here with that intro. Let them know who we just got finished talking to.
Right. Well, if you don't know, I'm gonna let you know. What you go through is what you grow through. Is this brother claim to fame? Adversity was his blessing, putting emphasis on the notion, no pain, no gain. From Pullman, New England, Green Bay to New York Jets, there is no peak where his brother's feet won't set. A late pick, 7 years in the NFL where he excelled, brought home a Super Bowl ring, even played for the legendary great Bill Parcells. Now living life, enjoying his later days, ladies and gents, I'll give you Chris Kareem, last name Mr. Hayes.
Hey, yes, Mr. Hayes, we're going to tap out of here. Zuma throw us up out of here. We definitely want to say our piece. Thank you, man. You know I'm going to see you, but definitely let's put it together, get you back on. Coach G, Coach Dennis, always a pleasure. I love these moments when we get to talk football. Hey, another edition of Turf Talk. Thank you, everybody.
Peace and love, man.
Every one of y'all brothers.
Appreciate
Peace and love, man.
Peace.
Always, man.
Have a good night, brothers.
Y'all too.